Okay, so have you ever found yourself maybe glancing at the news, then looking at your grocery bill and just thinking, what if?
What if you could just rely on yourself, on your family, for the basics, you know?
Exactly. No matter what's happening out there, it's this really powerful feeling, isn't it? This like quiet pull towards self-sufficiency.
It really is. That drive to just secure the fundamentals, food, shelter, just feeling resilient, it feels like something a lot of us are trying to reconnect with.
Yeah, like a return to maybe some older wisdom, but driven by very, very modern pressures.
Definitely.
And that's really what we're digging into today, this whole world of living off-grid, embracing self-reliance.
And our guide for this is author Spiritwalker. I know a lot of you listening will know his name.
Oh, yeah. We should mention we're actually part of the customer service team over at Nomadic Enterprises and Forgotten Wisdom.
Right.
And, we've admired Spiritwalker's work for ages. It's just so practical, so based on real experience.
It really connects. You can tell he lives this stuff. It's not just theory.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that authenticity comes through. So the main source we're looking at today is his article, Why Would Someone Want to Live Off-Grid Today? Part 2.
Yeah. And wow, is that title relevant right now or what, given everything going on globally?
Couldn't be more timely. So our mission today really is twofold. First, dig into Spiritwalker's take on the why. What's driving people towards this off-grid idea?
And then connect that why to the practical side, the how, specifically looking at the food production skills he really champions.
All right, let's get into it. The why first.
Okay, so Spiritwalker jumps right into rising prices and food security. He sees this constant climb in costs.
Yeah, he points out it's not just inflation like we normally think of it, but actual shortages happening and forecasts for, well, more of the same.
He doesn't see it as just a temporary thing either. He thinks it points to bigger, like, systemic problems.
He basically argues it's getting almost impossible for, a regular family on one or even two incomes to really thrive or even just eat well consistently.
Think about it, right? You go to the grocery store with $100.
Doesn't go far anymore.
Nope. Maybe covers a few days of basics if you're lucky. Quality meat, fresh stuff, dairy. It adds up incredibly fast for, say, a family of 3.
And Spiritwalker connects this not just to general economics, but also how fragile our food system is. It's so centralized.
Exactly. He often talks about how relying on, like, one big supplier or these complex global chains means a small disruption can cause huge problems. Just in time becomes just too late, really fast.
So what's the solution then? The immediate step people can take?
Well, this is where the self-reliance part really kicks in. He talks about growing, raising, hunting, fishing, foraging, getting most of your food yourself.
Which sounds like a lot, but he frames it not just as saving money, though it definitely does that, but also the health benefits, knowing what's in your food.
For sure. And, he makes the point that while you don't have to live off-grid to grow a garden or raise chickens,
Right.
it makes the whole thing way more affordable and sustainable if you can cut out those massive utility bills, electricity, water, sewer.
That ties into his next point, doesn't it? About money itself.
Yeah, he really drills down on how money, well, it just doesn't hold its value like it used to. A dollar doesn't buy much anymore.
That can sound pretty stark if you haven't, lived that off-grid life. How does he illustrate that?
He gives real-world examples, compares what a dollar buys now versus, say, what it bought for our grandparents. He connects it to economic shifts.
And he reframes things we see as essential, right? Like grid power, running water.
Internet, cable TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. He basically asks you to consider if these are truly needs for survival or if they're actually, well, luxuries we've gotten used to.
He's not saying go live in a cave.
No, not at all. It's about reevaluating priorities, what's really necessary versus what's just convenient or expected.
And the practical outcome of that reevaluation.
The big savings. Cutting those utility bills frees up a surprising amount of cash. He knows this works because he's done it.
And he emphasizes flexibility, too, right? Off-grid isn't one size fits all.
Exactly. You can make it as basic or as comfortable as you want. But the core idea is it helps you offset those rising living costs that are just crushing people, and you gain back some financial freedom, some independence from a pretty volatile system.
That leads into his thoughts on the future, which can sound, well, pretty serious.
Yeah, he looks at the bigger picture of the uncertainty. He talks about economic or financial collapse not as some like crazy doomsday scenario, but as something that could be or maybe is actually unfolding.
He's not being sensationalist, though, is he? It's more about observing trends.
Right. He points to things like the U.S. dollar's stability or mentions, seeing countries like Hungary starting to shift away from the dollar towards other currencies like the yuan. He sees these as signs, as indicators of change in the global order.
And he brings it back to personal responsibility.
He does. He doesn't mince words. For him, being prepared isn't about fear-mongering. It's about, well, love, really.
Yeah.
Being able to take care of yourself and your family if things get tough.
And this comes from his own life. He lived this.
Absolutely. He wrote his books based on actually doing it, feeding his family off-grid on a forest homestead for, over 5 years? He figured out how to make it work.
Dealing with weather, managing resources, learning on the fly.
Yeah. Turning challenges into lessons. He offers methods that he proved worked for him in the real world.
Okay, so the why is pretty compelling. Economic pressure, food security worries, wanting resilience. But then comes the big question for listeners, right? Okay, fine, but how?
Exactly. And this is where his practical side, all those years of experience, really come into play.
We're talking 16 years off-grid experience here.
Yeah, 9 years on that homestead in the Missouri Ozarks, then another 7 years living nomadically across North America, just constantly learning, adapting.
It's not just book learning, it's deep hands-on wisdom.
For sure. And he put all that into his book, Preparing for the Collapse, Food Production Basics.
Right, that's book 2 in his Preparing for the Collapse series.
And he positions it as the answer to the how. Food self-sufficiency, he says, is step 1 after you get some land.
And the key is that it's practical, right, for beginners even.
Definitely. It's time-tested, stuff he proved works, actionable steps, not just vague ideas.
So let's talk specifics from the book. Organic gardening is huge for him. Where does he start?
Soil. It's always about the soil. He goes deep into building it up using organic, humus, manure, compost. But not just that you should use them, but the how.
Like specific techniques.
Yeah, cover crops he uses, sheet mulching to control weeds and build soil over time. And he gets really specific about manures.
Ah, yes, the famous rabbit manure advice.
Right. He calls it sweet. Because it's cool, you can put it straight on the garden without composting it first, unlike, say, chicken manure, which would burn the plants.
That's a huge time saver.
It is. And he gives you simple ways to compost kitchen scraps, yard waste, even in small spaces, so you're always feeding that soil.
What about garden layout and protecting it?
He has practical tips there, too, like planting rows east to west to maximize sun, especially for heat-loving plants further north, building raised beds or hills for better drainage and easier weeding.
And fences, pesky rabbits and deer.
Oh, yeah. He talks about different fencing types, electric versus physical, even creating living fences with thorny bushes for a long-term, low-effort barrier. It's about smart design.
Okay, pests. Does he advocate just spraying everything?
No, definitely not. It's all organic. He gives you a recipe for a homemade spray using hot sauce and syrup. Explains why it works.
And companion planting.
Big time. Using repellent flowers like marigolds, thyme, lemongrass, strategically planted among the vegetables. For bigger pests like Japanese beetles, he has this mason jar trick.
A trick?
Yeah, you hold a jar of water under them, tap the branch, and they just drop right in. Simple, effective, no chemicals. He's really clear on telling beneficial bugs, spiders, ladybugs, from the ones you need to manage, like aphids.
He also mentions some old-timer techniques for getting more out of your plants.
Yeah, some really interesting stuff. Like for tomatoes, removing the lower leaves and the suckers, those little shoots and the via branches.
Why do you do that?
Directs the plant's energy to the fruit, not just growing more leaves. You get bigger, better tomatoes.
Makes sense.
Then there's a more advanced technique, root cutting for tomatoes.
Cutting the roots. Sounds risky.
It is. You have to be careful. You cut just some feeder roots on one side. The plant thinks it's dying, basically, and panics, putting all its energy into ripening the fruit it already has, faster and bigger. High reward, but needs precision.
Wow. And companion planting, too.
Absolutely. Corn with beans, tomatoes with thyme, peppers near tomatoes, squash with beans. He explains how certain plants help each other, pest control, sharing nutrients, even physical support. It's working with nature.
Okay, moving from plants to animals. Chickens are pretty common. What's his take?
He talks breed selection for self-sufficiency. Like dual-purpose breeds, Rhode Island Reds are a classic, good for eggs and meat.
Or specialized ones.
Right. Cornish cross grow incredibly fast just for meat. Cinnamon Queens are egg-laying machines. He also factors in climate and how much feed they need.
What about hatching your own chicks? Incubators seem complicated.
That's a key point he makes. He talks about broody hens, hens that naturally want to sit on eggs and hatch them.
So you don't need an incubator if you have the right breed.
Exactly. A lot of modern breeds have lost that instinct. It's been bred out. So he recommends heirloom breeds like Buck Orpingtons that are known for being good mothers. That's crucial for being truly self-sufficient with your flock.
And letting them roam. Free range.
Big advocate for free range. He says they're healthier, happier, the eggs and meat taste better, and they eat bugs and weeds, cutting down your feed bill and helping with pest control. Win-win-win.
He even touches on selling eggs.
Briefly, yeah. He notes there's a huge market for local, farm-fresh, organic eggs, basically everywhere. It can be a nice little income stream for a homesteader.
Okay, last animal group, rabbits. He seems keen on them.
Very keen. He calls them the quickest feed-to-food converters.
Meaning?
They turn feed into protein incredibly efficiently, much better than bigger animals, and they reach butcher weight really fast.
What breeds does he suggest?
For meat, usually New Zealand whites or Californians or mixes of those, they grow fast and have a good meat yield. But he discusses others too, for fur or just breeding stock.
And we have to mention the manure again.
Ha, yes. The sweet fertilizer. Perfect for the garden, straight from the hutch, no burning plants. It's like black gold for gardeners.
Are they hard to care for?
He argues they're relatively low maintenance compared to other farm animals. Less space needed than chickens, generally less fuss.
Any key care tips?
Keep their feet dry. That prevents sore hocks, a common problem.
Mm-hmm.
Handle them properly so you don't injure them or yourself. Protect them from extreme weather straw for warmth in winter, maybe frozen water bottles to lie against in summer heat.
Does he mention natural health remedies?
Yeah, he's a fan of things like grapefruit seed extract GSE, uses it as a kind of natural antibiotic or immune booster for certain common rabbit illnesses, more holistic approach.
Wow, okay. That's a ton of practical information if people are feeling inspired by all this.
Which hopefully you are.
We should mention again our own Forgotten Wisdom website. It's really a hub for exactly this kind of knowledge and support, very much aligned with Spiritwalker's philosophy.
Yeah, Forgotten Wisdom offers access to that time-tested knowledge, plus practical tools. Things like quality heirloom garden seeds, some basic off-grid power gear, good tools, camping and survival stuff. The kind of thing Spiritwalker himself would likely use or recommend.
It's about providing the resources to actually do this stuff.
Right. Put the wisdom into practice.
And speaking of practical guides, if this deep dive has really sparked something in you, wanting to actually start growing your own food,
Then Spiritwalker's book is the place to start.
exactly. He's compiled all that hard-won knowledge, the stuff we've been talking about. The book is called Preparing for the Collapse: Food Production Basics.
And remember, it's book 2 of his Preparing for the Collapse series.
It's just packed with the hands-on stuff, setting up the garden, raising the chickens, the rabbits, all based on what actually worked for him over years.
We'll make sure there's a link in the description so you can easily find it and grab a copy if you're interested.
Definitely check that out. So wrapping up today's deep dive, the core message from Spiritwalker is pretty clear, isn't it?
Yeah. The why for considering off-grid or more self-reliant living often comes down to, well, economic reality, concerns about fragile systems, wanting real food security.
And the how is found in getting back to basics, relearning those fundamental food production skills. There's a real empowerment in that.
It really is about more than just, scraping by. It's about thriving in a different way, a more grounded way maybe, drawing on older wisdom, building real resilience.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. In a world that often feels like it's pulling us in a million directions, maybe making us feel dependent.
What's one skill, just one thing you could start learning or practicing this week that moves you just a little bit towards greater self-reliance?
And how might, just taking that one purposeful step, how might that ripple outwards and change things in your daily life? Something to think about. Sure.